That about wraps it up for this week's episode of
From Art to Atoms. Why'd you give me 2 pages?
He was on a roll. I want to see if he can continue it.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks. Yeah. That does it for this week's episode of From Art to Atoms.
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
Hope you... I don't know what's wrong with me tonight.
Join us next week when we discuss
I don't
the
know
philosophical...
what we're gonna discuss next week.
Yeah, I don't either.
Hope you enjoy. God bless. Hope you enjoying. Hope. Okay.
Hope you guys had
Let's start over.
No, I'm going to do this one.
Okay.
Okay. Are we starting from the beginning of the ending? That about wraps everything up on this week's episode of...
No, let's do... Okay, let's just start. Okay. That does it for this week's episode of From Art to Atoms.
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
We hope you join us next week for...
We don't know yet.
Something else. I don't know. What am I trying to say? Okay, yeah, you do it. You do it. Okay, go.
Are you sure?
Yes.
This will be the third time.
I know.
That about wraps everything up for this week's episode of From...
That's not... You're supposed to say From Art to Atoms, and then I say The Ultimate Curiosity
I know,
Show.
but you say Art to Atoms. That's the thing.
Oh, you... Okay, well then do it again. Take 4.
Oh my God. One take false. That's what they call me.
Yeah, you wish.
So
You
did
that
Bartlett.
once. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of From Art to Atoms.
The Ultimate Curiosity Show.
I'm Brandon Shoemaker.
I'm Michael Foles.
And last week we talked about the nature of sleep.
Yes.
And so we decided to do a 2-part series, so to speak. And this week we are following up with an episode about dreaming and nightmares.
Yeah. So like we talked about the nature and biological reasons why we sleep last week. And so now we are going to dive into that little aspect that everyone...
Definitely. And if you had missed last week's, be sure to check that out. Episode 15.
Yep.
Wherever you get your podcasts or YouTube. So, I mean, dreams and nightmares have always kind of fascinated me because I was a child who suffered from a lot of nightmares. And, well, I don't know necessarily that it was a lot, but I'll say that they definitely stuck with me and they had a lasting effect. Like I was terrified to go to sleep for a large chunk of my childhood because I was afraid of the nightmares that I was going to have.
I don't remember anything like that in my childhood.
Really? You don't
Really?
remember
No.
having a lot of nightmares or anything?
Nope, not at all.
Well, you don't even really remember your dreams as an adult either, though, do you?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and that's one of the interesting things, you know, because there are a lot of people who are out there who say, I don't dream. And that's not true. You dream, you just don't remember them.
Yeah, no. But you remember, you know, and kind of looking at last week's episode, when does dreaming actually take place? What part of sleep does dreaming take place?
Well, and that's what's interesting too about this is because I had always thought that it occurred exclusively during REM sleep, but it turns out that it can actually happen during all stages of sleep, which really rings true to me because I remember several dreams that I'll have like in the morning I wake up and the first thing I do is I turn on the Today Show. And back when I lived in Charlotte, I had to get up earlier. And so it was during the regular morning news.
Right.
And I would frequently have dreams during that I would dream about things that I was hearing. And so much so that sometimes those dreams were implanted into my memories of what I thought was reality. So there was one morning that I dreamt that there was an earthquake and that it was felt in the news station and they mentioned it on air. They said something to the effect, whoa, did everybody just feel that just now? That little earthquake. And so I thought we had an earthquake that day and it wasn't until I got to school and was talking with everybody else. And I was asking if they had felt it and they said, no, what are you talking about? And so I looked it up on the news and there was no reporting of it whatsoever. But that was something after I reflected on that, I realized, wait a minute, the people that I heard talking weren't even actual newscasters in that show. So
who were they?
I mean, they were, I guess, a fictional news team that my brain invented.
Conjured.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, so yeah, I can definitely attest to the fact that dreams occur during any stages of sleep, because I was very much in the light sleep stage.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember
Yeah.
a lot of what I dream.
Yeah. I wonder just how many nightmares you actually have and you don't remember them. Well, they must not be too severe, because they would, usually nightmares will
Imprint.
well, not even necessarily imprint on us, but they'll be significant enough that we wake up.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
And so, that usually that causes us to remember it, because we remember that we woke up and we remember why.
Yeah, no, I don't remember. And I don't know if it's because, like, even as a kid, something happened where my mind just doesn't remember stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I very rarely do I remember a dream.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, children are much more prone to nightmares than adults. But I've had a handful of nightmares as an adult that, I could probably count them on one hand, the number that have actually been severe enough to wake me up.
Yeah.
But
do you remember what those nightmares were about? Your adult nightmares, like what?
I remember one of them, and the main reason that it was, I guess I just found it disturbing.
Okay.
Because it was about my mom, and I frequently, like in my dreams, my mom and my dad, for that matter, are both alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like I always dream about them.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, it turned bizarre.
Okay.
And that was the part that threw me, I guess.
Yeah.
It was my mom and myself, and we were in this, I guess, sort of like an old warehouse or an old factory building or something like that. And we were navigating our way through this maze of staircases, like, industrial staircases and things like that, and catwalks and things. And at one point, and it seemed like there were other things around us. Like, I don't necessarily know that they were like ghouls or whatever, but there were other entities around us that I was vaguely aware of. And at one point, I looked at Mom and I asked her, I said, "Do you know where you are?" And she looked back at me with this very sort of like sudden jerk, and her head and face kind of distorted for a second.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at me with this just pained expression on her face that was basically, it was like her asking me for confirmation for if she was right.
Mm-hmm.
And her response was, "Heaven?" And it just freaked me out. And I remember vividly waking up. This was when I lived at the beach those first 6 months that I lived there, when I was roommates with Nikki and Matt. And it woke me up and it disturbed me. So I broke out in tears, and it disturbed me so much that I had to like get up, walk out of the room and around the living room for a little while, just kind of quiet my mind and think about something else. But other than that, but like I said, they've been very few and far between. Nothing that I would say was dramatic.
Remotely near that, yeah.
Yeah, nothing to near that level. What about you? Do you remember anything?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
Not impressions, not feelings, not colors?
No.
Nothing.
Mm-mm.
That, to me, that's just kind of it's bizarre almost. I guess I just can't really relate to it, because I can sometimes so vividly remember my dreams.
Do you know, though, I will say, like, I think Marcel remembers a lot of her dreams. Because she has talked to me about, like, after a loved one has passed, having dreams about them and have them being in it. She's talked to me about that. And I always tell her, like, I don't remember any of that. If that ever happens in my dreams, I don't remember that at all. And, so I know that she does remember her stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know why I don't. I just don't.
And, that's one thing that I didn't think to look at. Maybe that's something we should look up now. Why do some people not remember their dreams?
Like I was telling you midweek, I read that article that had just come out. They just did a study with the link between dreaming and Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
Or Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say Alzheimer's, like old timers.
Yeah. That's what the old timers call Alzheimer's.
But, like, they did a study in 2023 with close to 3,600 people involved in this. And they found a link between those who have nightmares, their frequency of nightmares, and possible loss of memory and such like that. So I'm wondering risk of dementia. I'm wondering if any of that has to do with why I don't.
That's interesting too, because now that you mention it, I also found a study that said that in adults, new or frequent nightmares, specifically, not just all dreams, but specifically new or frequent nightmares, can be an early indicator of two very, well, I don't know how related they are, but anyway, they can be early indicators of two pretty substantial diseases, lupus and Parkinson's disease.
Yeah. Let's see. The study, I said, came out in 2023.
They
analyzed data from two groups of Americans. So the people answered questionnaires on sleep habits, frequency of nightmares, and they defined what a nightmare is as bad dreams that cause distress and trouble sleeping. So kind of what you described.
Right.
None of these people had Alzheimer's disease and other forms of dementia at the start of the study.
Okay.
And so they tracked one group of men and women between 35 and 64, 605 of those people for 9 years. And those who had nightmares on a weekly basis were 4 times more likely overall to develop significant declines in memory and thinking skills compared to their peers who didn't.
Oh.
Faster cognitive decline with aging may be an early warning sign of future dementia.
Wow.
So the second group consisted of 2,600 men and women in their 80s and older who were followed just for 5 years. And those who regularly had nightmares were twice as likely to develop dementia. This finding is building on research that shows a link between scary dreams and trouble sleeping and various brain ailments. So there obviously is something there connecting.
Yeah. And that's interesting because, obviously that's just correlational, right? They don't know.
Right. Yeah. There's no specific, there's no direct connection. They're just making hypothesis based on information that's presented. And coming back to what you said about Parkinson's, though, recurring dreams with aggressive content that cause a person to thrash in their sleep may be a harbinger of impending Parkinson's.
So that study found that too.
Yes.
Interesting. So clearly there's something going on there. There's some kind of connection, but we just don't know what it is.
Yep.
So while you were talking, I did look up why do some people not remember their dreams? Guess what the number one reason listed was?
Stress.
No. Sleep quality. Not getting enough REM sleep or having a sleep disorder can make it difficult to remember dreams. And you're
yeah, I remember
you've always
this week we went through, I tracked my sleep this week after we did last week's episode.
Yeah.
And I was only getting about 5 hours of sleep a night and maybe 53 minutes of REM sleep of that 5 hours. So
wow.
Less than 20% of, my sleep was in that actual deep sleep phase.
Yeah.
So
that would explain it.
But I'm a light sleeper. You know that.
Yeah.
Very light sleeper. I can hear everything going on mainly sometimes when I sleep.
Yeah, that is true. So one of the biggest questions that I've had, and it's one, we were actually discussing at dinner this evening, why do we have dreams in the first place? And so like most things in psychology, there are a number of theories and they don't really know why. One theory is called the threat simulation theory.
Is that what you were talking about at dinner with the fight to flight, preparedness for that?
Yeah. So essentially our brains want to prepare, it's kind of similar to the reason why we love horror movies so much as humans. That is not us personally, but granted for us as well, but
yeah.
It's kind of strange if you think about it, why we enjoy as entertainment these movies that are intended to scare us. And essentially it's because, we're in a safe environment. We know we're safe, but it still gives us that rush of adrenaline as if we are the ones being chased.
I think it's preparation for if something ever happens to me in real life like that. I'm like, I ain't going into that house.
Yeah, but the real world doesn't follow along with the rules of the horror tropes that are out there, unfortunately.
I don't know.
But anyway, so akin to that, the threat simulation theory states that our dreams create these frightening situations for us so that our body knows what that feels like if we haven't been in that situation, and we know what that is so that when we do feel it, we know this means danger.
So like a fire drill.
Essentially, yeah. Another theory is called the activation synthesis theory.
Okay.
And that one says that essentially dreams are what they call neurological noise that is our brain is attempting to make sense of it all.
Okay.
And so in the process, it weaves these bizarre stories together that
don't make sense at all.
Don't make sense, but it's our brain trying to weave that noise into something sensical.
Is it based on something that happened in life? You're just trying to make sense of that?
I think so. I think it's sort of like where we know like narrative structure from reality. And so our brains are trying to put these puzzle pieces together in a way that will at least make sense like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think our brains fail if that's the goal. Another theory is called the social simulation theory.
Okay.
And that states that essentially our brains, because when we dream, usually there are other people in them.
Mm-hmm.
Rarely do we dream where we're alone.
Right.
And so the social simulation theory says that it, especially during, times like the pandemic when everybody was sort of cloistered in their own space, that dreams will increase to give us that sense of socialization.
Yeah.
And then finally, this is not so much theory of why we dream, but it's more a theory of the possibilities of dreams. And that's called dream incubation. And that's where you prime the brain before sleep to help improve creativity. And so there are all sorts of different things that you can do. I don't remember any of them off the top of my head, but the specific habits or things like, how a lot of people will say, oh, well, a heavy meal could lead to bad dreams or something.
Yeah, or a glass of milk, warm milk. Right.
And so, things like a glass of warm milk or whatever will help to promote dreams that will encourage creativity. And because if you think about it, think about even with nightmares, some of them have led to major works of art or literature.
Mm-hmm.
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein is a prime example. That came to her in a dream.
Right.
Salvador Dali's clocks, the melted clocks, that came from a dream that he had. So, there are some people who say, let's do these specific things to help promote that creativity, to help generate not necessarily bad dreams, but interesting dreams that will give us as artists fodder to create from. And me, I would not be happy if I didn't also look at the bizarre or metaphysical reason for dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is where we get into some more far out ideas when it comes to dreams. But they are also rooted in actual psychology. The psychologist Carl Jung, who was a student of Freud,
right.
Of course, Freud did all his work on the significance of dreams and things like that. Carl Jung talked about what he coined the term for the collective unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
And did you ever have to learn about that in college or anything?
No.
So it was very frequently cited in literature courses. And so when we talked about literary theory and things like that, so that's where I learned a lot about it. And then I studied it specifically in psychology because I was interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the collective unconscious, according to Jung, is this concept that we as human beings share this body of knowledge that we're sort of just born with.
Okay.
Because of being human. And he said that this was the reason why you have creation myths, all across the globe from different societies that never interacted with each other, but they created these creation myths that essentially all have the same story.
Right.
And then you go deeper and looking into these types of stories and things like that, not just about creation, but just general stories. And that's where you find things like the hero's journey, which is this archetypal story of a hero who is sort of an outcast or an underdog, let's say. And, he meets this wise person who coaches him through the ways of becoming a hero.
Right.
And then he goes on these series of trials to become a hero. And at first, of course, he has to fail. And then eventually he faces his inner demons and things like that. And that leads to him truly becoming a hero.
Right.
And if you look at stories across from all different cultures, they follow this same plot line. And so that's another thing that Jung said was evidence of the collective unconscious. And so some psychologists say that that's where our dreams come from too. It's our minds tapping into the collective unconscious when we are unconscious. And so that's where all these things come from.
That's a little
hippy dippy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I was going to say scalar.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that implies then that we're all connected on some subconscious level.
But think about how many different cultures have a belief like that.
I understand that, but maybe that's just the wiring and how the brain's wired to, connect us to that stuff.
But still, that would be the collective unconscious then.
I mean, I just feel like visually, like I see some weird wispy stuff floating into you when you sleep and then connecting you to another person next door who is also sleeping. And
no,
do you know what I mean?
Not like that at all.
That's how I see it.
It's literally like you described, our brain's hardwired from birth to think these things.
No.
It's a theory that I personally really like because it has a number of possibilities to it to interpret as wispy things connecting people in their sleep, or very physically oriented biological reasons.
Yeah, but you believe in that hippy dippy crap.
Not always.
Yes, you do.
Not always.
Speaking of, Marcel called me yesterday and told me that if you ever want to talk crystals with her, she's game.
Okay.
She believes in all that.
Let's have her on the podcast then. We can have a whole episode about it.
She can be I will not be on that episode because I don't understand any of that.
Well, then all I ask is that you come with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
That's all it takes.
I'm just letting you know. She did. Yeah, she called me yesterday and said something about that. She was listening to last week's episode.
Yeah.
Or this week's current episode, I guess.
Which is?
TV shows.
Yeah. No, movies.
Movies, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Movies. Because she had said something. She's like, it's weird how both of us have the same horror choice, which was Nightmare on Elm Street. That was hers also.
Yeah.
But I think that has something to do with the fact that we watched that together as kids.
I was about to say, that doesn't really surprise me at all.
Yeah. But yeah, she said she would mind talking crystals with you and
awesome.
Crystal shopping next time she sees you.
Oh, well, tell her, next time she comes up, I'll take her to the
metaphysical
store
store
in town.
Yeah. No, I'm good. Thank you. She's going to listen to this anyway. So now she knows.
I didn't invite you to go with us. So
that's good. She knows now.
All right. So now you looked up some different.
Well, so I looked up first, like what nightmares are, like the reasons for nightmares. Like, so there's, a lot of different things. So then it says daily interactions with people can be nightmares, like marital difficulties and pregnancies are also possible causes.
Mm-hmm.
Fear that people don't understand or see who you are also kind of plays into that. Stress is one of the biggest ones, it says right here.
Yeah.
The way you handle and deal with stress can trigger nightmares. Nightmares are a normal response to unacceptable levels of fear and stress.
Mm-hmm.
And so people diagnosed with PTSD usually have nightmares based on their trauma from that.
Yeah.
Work, since most of us spend a majority of our day at work, it's no surprise that work-related issues are a common source of nightmares. So job security, change in jobs, co-worker relationships, unresolved work problems, dealing with clients and bosses, dissatisfaction, all that can lead into also having nightmares. And that's my thing, maybe because I don't really have a lot of issues in that avenue. Like I don't have a lot of issues with work.
Yeah.
Even before I started in the new district, my work issues weren't really that stressful to me. Like they were, but they're not to the point where it's keeping me from sleeping.
Oh, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then same thing like stress, like what stress do I really have in my life?
You generate your own stress.
Right. And so that's not caused by anything other than my own anxiety and level of worriness and stuff like that. It's not caused by anything other than my anxiety and Thomas. He's my other level of stress in my life. But I don't really have a lot right now,
Yeah.
I'm not under a high stress position where I'm at.
Well, and but again, like it said, like I said earlier, nightmares specifically aren't as common in adults anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll have dreams that aren't really, I mean, they're not even severe enough to where they wake me up, but like so let's talk recurring dreams for a second.
Okay.
So, and mine's not so much a single recurring dream, although I did have one when I was younger, and I'll talk about that in a second. More so than just a recurring dream, I now will have a recurring theme within a dream. So one that I'll have fairly frequently is that I'm driving uncontrollably, where I'm driving. Usually it's in something that's very low to the ground, almost to where I'm laying down on the ground. Like one time it was, I think I was in the Batmobile. And it was very low to the ground. You remember the Camaro that I used to have. So kind of like that, but where you were forced, like the seat was permanently kind of laid back. And I was driving, and somehow I knew it was in Florida, even though there were no road signs or anything. I knew that I was driving in Florida. And it was on these muddy roads, and I was driving very fast, and I couldn't control the car very easily. And then the most recent one that I had was like that. And I don't know what kind of car I was in that time, but I was driving, and again, I was driving uncontrollably, and I drove over a hill, but the hill actually turned out to be a cliff. And so I was essentially falling to my death. Oddly enough, that was not disturbing enough to wake me up. Okay. What? Okay. You've been grinning and on the verge of giggles the whole time I've been talking about
So what was your first reoccurring theme?
What? Driving uncontrollably?
Yeah. Anyone who's ever ridden with you in a vehicle while you drive, obviously I understand where that's coming from. I do. Deny all you want. You a crazy driver.
I'm not a crazy driver.
Did you hit curbs all the time? When you take a good right turn, you hit curbs.
Yes, sometimes.
Okay.
But
that's not normal. I'm just saying, I understand why you would have nightmares about driving uncontrollably, because I've ridden with you in a vehicle before, and it's pretty scary. It's the stuff that nightmares are made of.
You think you're just so funny.
Luca's down there laughing.
He's sleeping.
Luca.
So my other recurring dream, well, okay, so I do have one other that I'll have as an adult, that I've had as an adult, and that is essentially that I have moon gravity.
Like, so lighter than what you would have on Earth kind of thing.
Yeah, but it's to the point, it's like in a video game where I can run and I can jump and I'll go higher. And then if I bounce again, I'll go even higher, and like to where I'm essentially flying.
Gotcha. So you do like a little Luigi jump.
Yes.
You do your little jump and your little legs go.
Yes. I mean, without the legs going like that. But
gotcha.
So that one, and I always really enjoy it when I have that dream. And that's another weird thing that I'll do when I wake up from those dreams. I'll forget that that's not reality. And I'll when it occurs
Please tell
to me,
you don't go out there and try it.
No, I don't.
Okay.
But when it occurs to me, like just when I stand up from the bed and I feel the weight of the earth, I'm like, oh, that's disappointing.
Yeah, reality. No.
But my first recurring dream happened throughout my childhood and into my teen years. And that was where I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would go either downstairs. It started out, I would go downstairs and I would essentially turn. So I had a house where the staircase went up and there was a landing. And so it was a blind landing. Like you turn the corner and then you see a new area. And so when I would turn the corner on the landing, I would see down at the foot of the stairs, there was a hallway that led to the front door. And at the end of that hallway, I would see the silhouette of a man just standing there. And I knew he was there to kill me.
Spooky.
Yeah. And so I would wake up screaming at this. Well, as I got older, I guess, I don't know, I was more adventurous in my dreams or something. And I wouldn't see him at the foot of the stairs. I would go outside. And so I would go outside and then I would look up. There was this tree that we had in the front yard. I think it was a maple tree maybe, but anyway, it was a fairly young maple tree. And so I would look up at this tree and there would be the man standing in silhouette under the tree.
Like the man from Poltergeist movies.
Yeah, but without the hat. And so, but one time my dream almost came true. Because there would always be some sign that something was off, like the sky would be a weird psychedelic color or something like that. And so One time there was a noise outside at night. This was not like in the middle of the night. This was like 8 o'clock at night or something. And there was a sound or something outside, or the dog was barking. So I went outside, and it just so happened that my dad had recently changed the doorknobs, and that comes into play later on. So I went outside, and I walked out of the garage or out of the carport and turned the corner onto the little piece of sidewalk that was in the front of the house. And I saw a literal sign, and it was my dad's business sign. Like, it was a yard sign that he kept out in the front yard. And it wasn't where it normally was supposed to be. It was down on this sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
And so I freaked out, and I did not look up at the tree to see if there was a man standing there. I kept my head very purposely turned down to the ground and ran as fast as I could around back into the carport and to the door. And remember those new doorknobs? I had accidentally locked it behind me and didn't realize it. And so I'd locked myself out. And so I'm just pounding on the door, beating the door with my fists. And my dad comes and answers the door, and he's like, what is going on? What's wrong with you? And I go inside and I slam the door behind me. And I was like, your sign, it's down on the sidewalk. He said, yeah, I know. I took it down this morning. And so I don't know if there was ever a man standing under the tree or not, but I was not taking that chance, even though my dad was the one who actually made my sign happen, so to speak.
You're weird.
What?
I think you create your own theater sometimes.
What?
Like that, going, just kind of being freaked out in real life.
That wouldn't have freaked you out if you'd had a recurring dream like that.
No.
And then it was coming true?
No.
In your mind?
No.
Why not? You're psychotic then.
Well, we know this. We know this. Maybe that's why I don't remember stuff.
Yes, Sherlock. Okay.
Okay.
It's a high functioning sociopath.
It is, yes.
Anyway, so tell me about your dream interpretation.
Okay, so if you have dreams that are dreams about falling from great heights.
Okay.
That's very common.
Yeah.
A common dream. So it says on here, according to that interpretation, falling dreams are a sign that something in your life isn't going well. It suggests that you need to rethink a choice or consider a new direction for some area in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a symbol of fear in real life, but like falling at work or coming down a career ladder. You know what I mean? Like
right.
The destruction of something.
Metaphorically falling.
Right. It often expresses a need to let yourself go more and enjoy life more also.
Mm.
Okay. So the second type of dream is dreams about being naked in public.
Okay, that's another one
I've never had that one.
Well, you wouldn't know. You wouldn't remember it.
Yes, but I do know what I look like naked, and I promise you that is a nightmare that no one wants to see. Okay, so
isn't that one supposed to be like a desire to return to a simpler time or something like that?
Well, so it suggests that dreaming of public nudity might indicate that you feel like a phony or that you're afraid of revealing your imperfections and shortcomings.
Oh.
Like, I guess it's a sense of being completely exposed.
Yeah.
You know? And so that fear, I guess the clothing represents a protective factor between your true self and your authentic self and the way you're perceived. And so by exposing yourself completely, you are exposing all those shortcomings and misgivings and everything like that.
Well, that makes sense for me then as a sufferer with imposter syndrome for a long time.
Yeah. Dreams about being chased. If you're chased, and apparently this is a big one, it says that you are basically trying to avoid something in your life.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So
I used to dream I was being chased a lot as a child.
So there are different things. Like what you're being chased by also has its own interpretation also.
What about Count Chocula? Is he one on there?
No, that's you're running from food calories.
No, this is when I was a kid.
No, then again, psychotic. You are just weird.
That was you, not me.
Well, we lumped you in there too. All right. So if you are being chased by an animal, you may be hiding from your own anger, passions, and other feelings. So very animalistic, very primal, sense there.
Okay.
If you're an unknown chaser, if you have an unknown chaser, if your pursuer is a mysterious unknown figure, it might represent a childhood experience or past trauma.
Oh.
That could be your man with the hat. Or without the hat.
Have a hat.
The man without the hat. Okay. If you're being chased by a member of the opposite sex, CRISP suggests, that the scientists suggest that you're afraid of love and haunted by a past relationship.
What about if you're gay?
Then that's probably confirmation that you are gay if you're being running from this opposite sex. All right. Dreams about losing teeth. And again, we talked about this one. I didn't even realize this was a...
Yeah. I've heard of it, but I've never had it.
Yeah. Okay. I've never even heard of this one. So suggesting that, or dreaming about losing your teeth can have multiple meanings. It may mean that you're worried about your attractiveness or appearance. So like a physical, like what are you going to look like with no teeth? Well, it's going to hit you one day. So
not necessarily. There are implants and dentures.
Well, your ability to communicate, or that you are concerned that you might have said something embarrassing. The real essence of teeth is their ability to bite through, to cut, to tear, to grind. If your teeth fall out, you lose personal power and your ability to be assertive, decisive, and self-protective. I would also say in that one, this is my interpretation of that one, but because voice comes from our mouths, you know, and without that, you are really taking your voice away also. Like, I wonder if that has, if you feel powerless in that.
Well, I mean, and think about how often we hear, something referred to as toothless.
Right.
If it has no power
grip, right,
or no actual weight to it.
Yep. So, all right. So if you dream about dying, the death of a loved one, or even dying themselves, so you can dream of both of those things. And it suggests that dreams reflect here anxiety about change or fear of the unknown. So those are two things, because with death, we don't know what's on the other side. Like we don't know what is after death.
Right.
And like Thomas's mom passed this past summer, and shortly after she did, she always believed in that frou-frou stuff.
I was about to say the hippy-dippy stuff.
Yes, the metaphysical stuff. And I even said that to him. I was like, at least she finally has all of her answers now. Like everything that she, and it's one of those things like we won't know until we're there.
Yeah.
But once we know, we can't ever tell anyone.
Yeah.
Like we can't. So it's one of those things. Like I think that's interesting that it kind of plays on that fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
The fact that we really don't know what's after.
That's honestly one of the things that I look forward to about death, is just like I get to know all the secrets.
No, but do you really care at that point?
Probably not. That's the thing. It's kind of interesting. Like, and I've heard that like from people who have had near-death experiences and things like that. They will often say that they had the sense of they had all this knowledge now, but it didn't matter. To them.
Yeah. The next one is dreams about taking a test.
Mm.
Okay. So taking an exam in your dream might reveal an underlying fear of failure.
Mm.
Because just the examination process itself can be stressful in its own. And when taking a test, you're faced with either you know it or you don't.
Yeah.
And so not knowing something is reality facing on your own shortcomings.
Right.
So there is a fear of that. Being late for an exam, being unprepared for an exam, all of that plays into that fear of failure.
Yeah.
Dreaming if your spouse or partner is cheating on you, so infidelity. Fears of infidelity may be a reflection of that. Dreams probably don't mean that your spouse is actually cheating on you, but it's a what if dream, like you're testing the limits of reality.
Yeah.
In that aspect. And I will say this one does remind me of something that does happen, only because the conversation happened later on. Like I've had a dream where Thomas did something. And he tells me, like, I wake up and I'm mad at him.
Yeah.
And he didn't do anything wrong, but I'm mad at him because of something he did in my dream.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so I do remember that. He has said that several times he's like, why are you mad at me? I'm like, well, it's just because, I'm still kind of pissed at you because of what you did. He's like, I didn't do anything like that. So there is that one.
Yeah.
Dreams about flying. I do remember as a little kid, one dream, we used to have a playground by school. Whenever we would go on field trips, we would always go to this playground to eat lunch. Okay. And it had a play set, jungle gym kind of thing.
Yeah.
That had like a slide that went like this, but it was made of little rolling bars.
Oh, yeah.
Several rolling bars. And you would just use the rolling bars. I do remember going down that, but like surfing down it. And when I got to the bottom, it was kind of like my takeoff.
Oh, yeah.
And that would send me. Dreams about flying. There are two different sides of this dream. One side represents feelings of freedom and independence. And then the other one is a desire to flee or escape from realities of life. Flying alone occurs more frequently than with someone else because it involves positive feelings of pleasure. Flying may depict our sexuality, especially aspects of it expressing freedom from social norms and restraints also. Okay. And the very last one is one that you and I have never had. Dreams about pregnancy.
Nope.
Dreams of pregnancy, they represent everything from creativity to fear. Pregnancy dreams might sometimes represent a woman's fear of being an inadequate mother, as well as pregnancy dreams indicating that the dreamer is developing some area of potential or deepening a relationship. Those are some common dream interpretations.
Well, it just occurred to me, I'm sure there are probably some men out there who've had a dream that they're pregnant.
That would be a nightmare.
Well, yeah.
Especially for most men, nightmare.
All right. So what's your takeaway on dreams and nightmares?
On dreams and nightmares?
Or on each individually?
Well, so I wish I had more. I wish I remembered more of them.
Yeah.
You know, especially on the ones where like Marcel says that she has dreams of my grandmother, both my grandmothers, and my aunt. You know, I'm jealous of that because she calls them visitation. She's like, when a dream happens like that from someone who's passed, then, and you remember it, it's very vivid, then that is a visitation from them from the other side.
Yeah.
And I honestly am jealous of that. Like, I wish I could have those dreams.
Yeah.
And
again, you probably do. You just don't remember them.
Then I wouldn't consider those visitations, though, because that's the whole point of that, I guess, in her viewpoint of that, is that it's so strong of a feeling. Like, it's not just a dream. It is an emotional experience.
Yeah. That
you experience everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
And so I wish I could experience that. I wish I could remember my dreams. I think, though, like you said, though, it's something to the point where it's the brain. We have not tapped into what's going on in dreams yet, neurologically.
Yeah.
And so with that aspect of it, there is definitely a lot more science that has to be investigated to find out what's going on, where they're coming from, what their brain is doing. On the same note, also, I do think it's interesting that it's not just the human species that does this also.
Yeah. All
that
mammals.
There are other animals that do this as well. You know, we've seen dogs, I've never seen a raccoon dream, but I can tell you my dog does. You know, like I see Duke's feet go like this in his dream and his tail will start wagging. And I've seen Phoebe start panting while she's sleeping in response to something that she's dreaming. So I think that it does come back to, like we talked about last week with sleep, that it is a repair process. It allows your mind to make neuroplasticity, when we talked about that last week.
Yeah.
That we're making new neural connections and stuff like that when we actually do sleep. And I think it has something tied into that aspect also.
Yeah.
That dreams, not just nightmares, but dreams themselves are our brain making neural pathways that are either changing or new.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah. I agree with a lot of that because, you know, for me, one of my biggest takeaways is just the fact that, you know, like I said, as a child, I spent so much time being fearful of my dreams to the point where I was afraid to go to sleep at night. I feel like I have sort of done a 180 as an adult to where I look forward to my dreams at night. And Lord knows I love to sleep.
Yeah.
But I think that is sort of an opportunity for me at this point, because it is the only time that I can see my mom and dad.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of comfort that I find in that, because, that's the other thing that we didn't really talk about. When we're dreaming in the moment, we don't recognize that it's a dream. It feels real. And so, for me in those moments, they're there.
Yeah.
And there is a lot of comfort to be had from that. So, that's probably my biggest takeaway is, as a child, I was fearful, but now I look forward to them. And I do, try to use them as a source of my creativity whenever I can.
Yeah. Well, and there's a connection though between people that are creative and dreaming also. Like you were talking about,
artists,
the
writers.
melting clocks and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Mary Shelley, all that came out of dreams. And so those that are super creative have more of that. I don't want to say more dreams, but they have more of the tapped into.
I was about to say,
they tap more into their dreams.
Yeah, we use what we get from our dreams and turn it into something in the physical world that we can create.
Right. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Ready for trivia?
Yep. Let's do it.
Okay. Do you want me to question first since I got the book right here?
You can.
Okay. What category do you want?
I was going to say sports and leisure, but I'm not that adventurous tonight.
Geography, entertainment, history, arts and literature, science and nature, and then sports and leisure.
I'll let you pick.
Okay.
Just don't do sports and leisure.
Okay. I won't do sports and leisure. Oh, here we go. I've flipped to the perfect page for you. This is in entertainment. Okay. Number 1. What South Park character has been killed the most times?
Oh, it's Kenny.
I'm not even going to turn the page to look. I know it's Kenny. All right. 2. What Scientologist was trapped in the closet in the controversial Trapped in the Closet episode of South Park?
Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise, yes. Number 3. What TV series based on a novel by Candace Bushnell ended with an episode called An American Girl in Paris Part 2?
Reread the question for me.
What TV series based on a novel by Candace Bushnell ended with an episode called An American Girl in Paris Part 2?
You that just joined seeing us change the sliding, it's because the light went out again for the 3rd time in this filming of this episode.
Yeah, something's going on with that. I'm not sure what it is. I went through 3 batteries and it's still
just on
the
one that's filming on him, though.
Anyway.
All right. Read the question again.
Number 3. What TV series based on a novel by Candace Bushnell ended with an episode called An American Girl in Paris Part 2?
I don't know.
Candace Bushnell, you don't know?
No.
Sex and the City.
Okay.
I was about to say,
my God, Thomas is going to kill me for that one.
No, he won't. He'll never hear this.
That's true. That's true. He has to listen.
Number 4. What Quentin Tarantino movie sees something go very wrong when 5 total strangers team up for the perfect crime?
Ocean's 11?
No, I don't think so.
That's not a Tarantino film.
I think it was Reservoir Dogs.
I've never seen that one.
It was.
I never saw that one.
Okay. Number 5. Who was the voice of Jack in the video game Pirates of the Caribbean: The Legend of Jack Sparrow?
It's not Johnny Depp, is it?
It is.
He voiced his character. That's stupid. Why don't they just say, what is the voice of Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise?
Because they wanted to trick you.
Anyway.
All right. Number 6. What 1993 blockbuster was set on Isla Nublar near Costa Rica?
Did you say Isla?
Isla.
Oh, okay.
Isla. What 1993 blockbuster was set on Isla Nublar near Costa Rica?
I have no idea.
Jurassic Park.
Okay. Good for it.
I'll go with, you know what? Let me do science and nature this time.
Okay. Where in the body will you find your aqueous humor?
Your aqueous humor?
Yes.
The eye?
Yes.
Okay.
What 3-letter word means the combination of gases surrounding the Earth? 3-letter word.
3-letter word. Air.
Yes. What is the large rotating system of currents in the Atlantic Ocean that takes warm water north? Sharks swim up and down it.
I want to say the jet stream. That's not it. Read it again.
What is the large rotating system of the currents in the Atlantic Ocean that takes warm water north? It's not the jet stream, but the blank stream.
No, I know. The Gulf Stream.
Yep. Which American astronomer gave his name to a telescope launched into space in 1990?
Edward Hubble.
Yep. What orbit the sun and have a name based on the ancient Greek word meaning wanderer?
Asteroids?
No, that's what made me reread it because it's not.
Read it again.
What orbit the sun and have a name based on the ancient Greek word meaning wanderer?
What orbit? So plural.
No, it says what orbit. There's no S on there.
Right. So the noun doing the orbiting is plural.
I guess, yes.
What orbit the sun and have a Greek name.
But what orbits the sun?
You
live on one.
A planet.
Yeah, planets.
Oh, read the question again.
What orbit the sun and have a name based on ancient Greek and word meaning wanderer? That's why I had to reread
the planet.
it.
The word planet means wanderer. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
That's what made the answer is plural, but the question is
bizarre.
Yes.
It was
the way it was written.
Worded. Yeah.
Yeah. What airport did the first commercial Boeing 747 flight from JFK land at? It's a international flight.
I was thinking that. Heathrow?
Yep. In London.
Yeah.
What is known as the red planet?
Mars.
Which of Jupiter's moons is the most volcanically active body in the solar system?
Olympus Mons?
Nope, Io. Which vitamin?
Moons.
Yep.
How many pages are you reading me?
2. What vitamin's principle form an ascorbic acid?
Say that again?
What vitamins principle form an ascorbic acid?
Oh, vitamin C?
Yes. What name is attached to volcanoes that haven't erupted since historical times but aren't considered extinct?
Dormant?
Yes. How many calves does the average giraffe mother give birth to each time?
1.
What mixes with the fuel to aid combustion in most car engines?
Oxygen.
Air. Yeah.
Air.
Okay. So that about wraps everything up from this week's episode of
From Art to Atoms,
the Ultimate Curiosity Show. Tune in next week when we discuss We Don't Know Yet. So it's a surprise to both us and you. We hope you guys have a great week, and we hope you continue to listen to us discuss random topics.
Crazy banter that is our weekly discussions.
Yay!
Have a good week, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to From Art to Atoms, the Ultimate Curiosity Show, episode number 16. Your hosts are Brandon Shoemaker and myself, Michael Folse, and occasionally Luca Shoemaker. The show is produced by Brandon Shoemaker and is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show to stay up to date on all of our latest episodes and news. And if you have any questions, feedback, or suggested topics you'd like for us to dive into, don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach us at FromArtToAtoms@gmail.com. We would love to hear from our listeners, and we value your input greatly. Don't forget also to follow us on social media to stay updated on upcoming episodes and behind-the-scenes content. You can find us on Instagram and YouTube at From Art to Atoms. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us reach even more interested minds just like yours. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, stay curious.